Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Glorious Smite League. This is the UD Finals for first place, Order of the Blight versus Archies. I'm Chair 1 Laffy, and today with me today is Chair 2 Machiavelli.
Hello.
This is certainly going to be an interesting set. I mean, UD games haven't really ever been casted. This is a known fact, so seeing the UD Finals for whoever takes away first place is certainly something that's going to be interesting. What do you mean semi-finals production? Whoever wins this literally gets first place. Then the final, whatever the finals of the losers bracket, yeah, for second and third place.
Whoever loses plays the.
Okay, apparently I've just been backhanded slapped by production, who's just. I guess I can't argue whoever made. There's the bracket, because I waffled. I when I spread misinformation on the internet, to be honest. Well, I'm gonna ignore everything that I said basically in the last past minute. So anyway, going back into the bands, Kefri, Daji, and Yumoja coming out from Order of the Blight, and Archies opting to ban Hades, Nijar, and Thor, and outcoming from Order of the Blight is our first pick, Ishtar. I have really no complaints with this one, but
yeah, all seems pretty standard to me.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong, but I'm certainly interested that do Archies support really play Yumoja? Or are they just looking to get rid of her really just because it's Yumoja?
Yumoja is a very dangerous pick, so always better safe than sorry to not let someone who can play Yumoja get it. And we do see the Sonos come out. This is pretty standard matchup you see at the moment. You pretty much only see Ishtar, Sir, and Cupid. And it wouldn't be a GSL game without a Ganesh being picked top 2 in support.
I think the most supports we ever see in GSL is probably Ganesha, Yumoja, and Kepri, honestly. Why is nobody picking Fafnir? Honestly, Fafnir is such a go choice.
There are quite a few good picks open. Ymir hasn't received his nerf yet, and quite a good pick into Ishtar.
I will vanquish all evil from
Yu
this
Huang
world.
coming out, pretty safe pick. Fairly safe mid to top 2, just because he has so much CC immunity and escape in his kit.
And there's also one of the more broken support picks, Terra. We love Terra. We know.
We do love Terra. Terra is very good.
Earth and Fury is just too much of a good ultimate to pass on. It
is fantastical. Just the ability to be able to just say, no, we're winning this fight, and press 4. It's pretty powerful. And in the hands of someone like Mino, I don't see that going to waste.
You got a very large range, team-wide healing, team-wide damage, and even then, even on the passive, side healing just before that burst heal, you don't even need the Earth. You don't need Crushing Earth. You don't need Monolith. You can just press the Terra 4 and just walk away from a team fight as Terra.
If you get a good 3-person ult off on Terra, then you've done your job in a fight. Anything else is just a bonus.
Anything else is just a bonus. Just sit back, heal for your team, give them the heals of the Monolith. Just chill. Last pick from the Archies before we go into the second wave of bans. Coming into Osiris, who will be countering that Terra. But
that's pretty nice, but it is a pretty much single target anti-heal.
It can be AoE. It can hit multiple targets given the right circumstances, but at the same time, I don't really favor Osiris right now. I mean, I like it into their comp, but at the same time, Osiris, especially if it's going solo, is a little kind of on the weaker side. But if it's going jungle, then it could very well shine.
Yeah, I think I'd maybe prefer it in jungle. It's kind of quite a nice danger pick.
Second wave of bands coming out are Loki and Sasano from Order of the Blight, and Robin and Pele from Archies. 4 assassins being banned here, and that's really interesting to see Loki banned. Something that isn't really valued. And now from Archies we see Lancelot being picked up, so that will confirm that that's an... Well, it actually doesn't confirm that it's an Osiris jungle or an Osiris solo. But either of those can be played in either way, so we still don't really know where it could be going. I still really think it should be an Osiris jungle, but we'll see how that develops. This Humbat's now being picked up by Order of the Blight. Love that pick.
Do really like it into the Sonos, given his lack of CC immunity.
And the last god coming out from Order of the Blight, Cucullin, which will if it's either a Lancelot, if it's either the Lancelot or the Osiris solo, plays well absolutely greatly into both with level 1 pressure, being able to, if it's Lancelot, being able to constantly demount Lancelot and preventing from being able to get away or forcing Grand Joust. So I have no complaints, really.
The Kronos coming out last pick. This has been a pick that's really rocketed up in value recently. With the we've seen a lot of players going for the poly one-shot build, just kind of deleting a jungler when they go on them. Could be a bit dangerous if the jungle underestimates that damage.
Yeah, absolutely what you've been saying. Kronos was considered a low point tier god at some point, and then Book of the Top got changed, and it got 10 flat pen, and all of a sudden, whoa, he's being played every game. There's poly on him. You press the third portion of his ring with accelerate, boom, he one-shots someone. What happened there? That's crazy.
It is wild. And also a lot of safety. If he can react the Hun battle, with Zonal, he can get out pretty safely. Not much to worry about there. But yeah, I do.
Whose team comp do you favor so far? I think I'm really looking at Order of the Blight, and I'm
leaning towards Order of the Blight. I think they do have a generally better comp. I don't think Archie's comp is too bad, but I do just prefer Order of the Blight.
Both team comps are certainly really strong. You have Wild Hunt into even the Dharmic Pillars, and even the Dharmic Pillars into a Spirit of the Afterlife. Like they can combo really well. They do have very good synergy just within their first 4 picks, especially however they decide how to play with Dharmic Pillars. But you can't really ignore like Spear of Mortal Pain into Fear No Evil, or that adding that onto an Earth and Fury, or even a Dueling Dragons. Just a lot of different things, really. They have pretty much their entire combo synergizes really, really well.
Yeah, I feel like if Archies can look to pick off, say, the Ishtar or the Hunbats, if they find them out of position, that could be a really good move for them. Just try and blow them up and lock them down with all that CC they have on the ults. But otherwise, I think Order of the Blight might have a slightly better team fight just off that Terror ult.
Now, interestingly, as we do transition into the game here, it has actually told us that this is an Osiris solo, and Mino Kino trying for that purple buff invade and does get it. Mino Kino loves his purple invades, I'll tell you that one.
That is pretty massive.
I don't think I've seen Mino Kino not purple buff invade. That man knows what he wants to do as a support player. But yeah, and you know what? I'll give it to him because it works. It always ends up working out. Granted, he misses his level 2,
nice elite lead.
But he prevents them, both players on the enemy team, from getting level 2 along with where he is. And hey, look, his ADC is level 2. Everyone else is level 1. That's huge opposition advantage for them.
That is pretty great.
So I mean, now that we know that it's an Osiris jungle, sorry, I don't know why I just said jungle. Osiris solo. How that changes things ever so slightly. How do you feel about that? Because Osiris definitely has the pressure right now versus the Cucullum, but slowly but surely we'll slowly see that turn into Cucullum's favor.
Yeah, I feel like the Osiris maybe wants to try and get active on the map a bit earlier than the Cucullum. Try and abuse this early pressure. Look for back camp invades, blue invades, get tome control early to kind of get ahead before the Cucullum starts to take over in terms of power.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair. Osiris mid-game, as much as Osiris late-game is very much a struggle, Osiris mid-game, especially with early rotations, can just be absolutely harmful. Especially if, the enemy saw it. Now, interesting enough, we do see a little bit of a duo gang from here. There is a mount up coming from Lancelot. Mino Kino, unfortunately, falling very low. And that will be first blood towards Archies. 500 gold hitting them very nicely, as Edward Echo will now leave and spend that gold wisely.
Yeah, very nice rotation.
Mech's getting a little bit of pressure now. Starting to get a little bit of advantage against Osiris. Still has 1 chalice left, still has 1 healing pot as well. So he's sitting comfortably healthy. He'll have pressure for now. But Osiris has Death's Toll, so he'll be even more healthier as he just also popped that last health potion that he has. I gotta say, I mean, Edward Decker getting the first blood for himself is really huge. He can back, he can get a heavy mace, and soon, very soon, that'll be that could be a Jotun's. He could very well opt into Crusher if he felt like it. Just have complete more pressure on the map.
Most likely.
And speaking of, here he is throwing the horse at Max, but just getting a little bit of pressure, nothing too much. Bringing that pressure back for Osiris, no problem. And here's a duo fight. Reblossom taking a lot of damage from the Terror. It's just normal ADC duo lane pressure though. That purple buff invade.
And we do see off that, the Lance just takes away both back camps on the solo side of the map. He starting to really try and throw his weight around with that first blood gold. Try and get himself snowballing.
I mean, where you have the advantage, whether it's in gold, whether it's experience, just take advantage of it as much as you can and go for it. Interestingly enough to hear, Dioi is walking up a little bit, throwing the Sacred Monkey, but will let Edward Decker have those back.
Maybe hoping that the Lance had back to get Jotuns or something, and he could maybe sneak away those back camps, but no, the Lance will be there to secure them.
I think he's holding on to that for Heavy Mace for a Crusher, as we see another dual lane rotation coming out. Max will have the Salmon's Leap to get him out, and he does have the Spirit of Mortal Pain, but here's the Spirit of the Underworld to dodge that Spirit of Mortal Pain, and that is a kill for Nikos. That is huge, and I don't even want to know what happened to the Spirit, the Coca-Cola Spirit above him. That thing glitched out really badly. That's
it's just the power of the play, just sending his soul straight to hell. But I don't think it's really good to play off each other by the solo and jungle.
I don't think widening the character is sending them to hell. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, really. Now, interestingly enough, with those 2 kills on the board, Archies currently 1,000 gold ahead. Very nice, very comfortable, especially for the early gun. I'm all done with really good rotations so far, and unfortunately, Order of the Blight just unable to mitigate those damages yet. But here comes the Dueling Dragons out from Thomas Flop. But Seagull just able to get the rewind in time and will allow him to live.
Thin margins, but just about makes it.
Very, very unfortunate. That could have been the first kill for Order of the Blight that would have potentially set them back on the map. So that is very, very unfortunate timing. Not enough damage.
You do hate to see it, but yeah, the Yu Huang damage. It's given how much damage he does late game, it can be quite startling how little he can do early game. In terms of sometimes you go for an ult and it just tickles people, and you're just like, well, that was my ult. But he can scale to late game, I'm sure. Kronos, of course, has an insane late game, but you can't overlook the Yu Huang late game as well.
As much as you can throw a stop time through the wall, so can a Yu Huang throw a Dragon's Towers Attunement and a Flames of the Phoenix.
Absolutely. I have seen many Yu Huang one-shot a squishy over a wall with a 2-1 ult combo. And it is not fun to play into.
We are seeing 6 minutes have occurred, so now the cups have been spawned. Greater Scorpion has just been done by Order of the Blight, and Davros just looking to try and get a few cups away from Order of the Blight. Even Nikos is also doing the same thing now, currently running a Dioi. He will get the tether off, but he's sitting at 3/4 health. I don't think he comes back in for this, especially with an Edward Decker on the prowl, taking those back. They're just going to have to surrender that blue buff, unfortunately.
I do like how they're playing this, just abusing that early lead in the solo lane, trying to force invades, get the enemy solo behind.
Now, surprisingly, Edward Decker has not gone for the Crusher, and in fact did go for an early Jotuns. He kind of sat on a lot of gold, though, at that time. He already had the first blood gold. All he had to wait was really 1550 gold. He only had to wait about, I'd say, I think 700-ish gold. He could have, in the time that he was holding that while, say, rotating around on the map, getting that assist for the solo lane kill, I feel like he could have gone for a Crusher, and that would have put a lot more pressure on the map.
Could have been a much bigger power spike, and that is a deleted Kronos. Lots of ults invested, but That Chronos.
There goes the Kronos trying to get away with a rewind, but that's the Dueling Dragons, and that, the Fear No Evil. Say farewell to Seagull.
Yeah, I feel like the Hunbat's ult may have been a bit overkill, but it's always better safe than sorry. Try and interrupt him from getting that ult off on time. But
Well, I mean, it got his beads, so
it did force the
that's...
beads. So yeah, that is a Chronos in a dangerous position next gank.
Even if it's say overkill, like getting a free beads is always worth it because that means that that means you can get a Fear No Evil. He can't cast Rewind to try to get all of his health back, and you can just in that time you can just blow him up. It's no problem.
Absolutely.
Order of the Blight trying to go for a purple buff invade almost kills Edward Decker off of that, but will not get anything. And in response to mitigate the damages, Seagull currently looking for a red buff invade. But now he's surrounded by members of Order of the Blight. Here comes the Flames of the Phoenix. There's the Dazzle Tumen. But the 8 seconds off of Rewind will put him right back towards the mid lane, right towards his safety of Davros.
Bit of a cheeky invade attempt there.
He tried it. I'll give him respect points.
You gotta respect it.
That is an unfortunate Blades of Retribution for Tier. Does not catch Reblossomed, and now that is unfortunately wasted. And now on the back rotation, Davros with the Ohm to cancel the Jolt will catch with the remove obstacle, but unfortunately Reblossom does not want to follow up, so nothing will be met. And now Kino is just chilling here. Now, interestingly enough, we are seeing Archies kind of separate here into 3. Davros is looking to invade the obelisk. And unfortunately was not quick enough in time as Order of the Blight did get the obelisk.
And nice now we're seeing Lancelot to peel out, and he gets the kill. A lot of damage onto that Yuhang. Great play by Lance.
Well, we thought we saw a Kronos here dying, but no, he didn't. No rewind, no problem, because the Dueling Dragons isn't going to kill. And here comes Edward Decker with the Grand Joust, able to save him and get rid of that Yu Huang, no problem. I think it was a bad call to try and make Davros go for that obelisk, because by the time Davros walked over to the obelisk to try and steal from it, they already got the obelisk. They already had it completed. It was charging down, and then they got the trebuchet. So I think trying to invade. I mean, as much as Archies were really close to getting that obelisk, I don't think they could have gotten a cup in time to steal it. Archie is now currently silently taking away a Pyromancer. Will go for the Greater Scorpion as well. Kino is prowling, though he could steal this, but unfortunately, I don't think he did.
Does force out the beads from the lance to prevent the root, but which is a nice investment. The Terra 3 for a Lance's beads is always good, but we do see the Scorp and the Pyro fall down for Archies, so they are expanding their gold lead to about 3k now.
Yeah, that's a really good gold lead, especially. I mean, they've only had 1 kill down. That's so to be almost 3,000 up is fairly good, I'd say. They're in a really strong position right now in terms of both gold and experience. They're able to get a lot more farm, and so everything is very, very good for them. Order of the Blight now completing their Greater Scorpion. Nico's, however, could very well be collapsed on. There's a 3-man rotation coming out for him, but he's not really taking any damage on mech. Now the call has been called off. Here is Edward Decker. There's a Fear No Evil. That was also an Earth Fury, but the Grand Joust, as the Fear No Evil finishes, will allow Edward Decker to walk away. He'll just go back to farming in the jungle. I think that was a really good call. They know that they had Edward Decker's beads. They know they could just go on him, but that was just very unfortunate with the timing of the Earth Fury and the fact that Humbat's ult expired in that time. Unfortunately, he could just walk away with the Grand Joust, and that's where that Jotuns comes in. The 20% CDR for the instant Grand Joust.
And we do see him go towards the sledge here, going for more of a hybrid build.
And yeah, I completely understand that. Like you can build Lancelot full damage, and he will slam, but sometimes you can also just go on a little bit on the safer side, get a little bit, because Lancelot's kit, his passive and all that, he's built very much around being a little bit tanky, having those protections. Beads coming out from material. There's the Blaze of Retribution, but Edward Decker is just there. Reblossom, unfortunately, did not hit the wild. Did hit the wild hunt, but had the beads in retaliation. And that will be another kill towards Edward Decker. That man is 3-0 and walking around happily.
Yeah, he is putting on a show. He's not got a level lead yet, but he is quite a bit gold up, about a K, just on the jungler of this 3K lead. It is just the jungler.
That's a Lancelot. I don't want to say it's a Lancelot differential, but Lancelot is such a strong god. And it's like I was saying earlier, like just because of how his kit is with his passive being able to reduce damage while not mounted, or getting a massive shield while mounted. You can opt in to like go for one hybrid defense item, like whether it be Glad Shield, Berserker Shield, or even Sledge or Blackthorn. Just any like one and done defense items that you can take really, and just make yourself a little bit tankier. Then go into the rest of damage and just roll on through.
Absolutely. Yeah, with stuff like a Kronos and Cernos on your team, you don't really have to worry about needing to be the one to really put out damage late game. So you can afford to get a bit more bruiser and just get in there, get stuck in, and cause havoc in the backline.
So, interestingly enough, Osiris has gone for double shields. I don't mind double shields. I mean, especially since Berserker shields got really buffed recently. So, I'm perfectly fine with it. But at that point, you could also just take advantage of Amulet the Stronghold. Not really good item for Osiris, but something to take advantage of. But I'm going to hold it there anyways. Archies get the Gold Fury. Edward Deco unfortunately does fall with a lot currently used. There's the Wild Hunt coming out from Reblossomed. Mino Kino is unfortunately falling lower and lower. There's the Spirit of the Afterlife. Unfortunately does not connect. Max Meow in the back with the Spear of the Mortal Pain will pick up, but it's just cleaning up too much. But Archies are just cleaning up too much against Order of the Blight.
Nikos is a lot of damage from Yuhang.
Nikos is eating a lot of damage on the UI, but however, Mac keeping the rest of his team away, having the rest of his team keep away, but Nikos will eventually fall to DI. Reblossom now just falling a little bit low, so the rest of the team looks onto him, but the auto trades are just too strong. There tries the Terror, Earthig Crush, and now that will be good night to Reblossom, but Seagull on the prowl, killing DI, will catch Max in a double kill, beads the Monolith route with the Shatter, will have the movement speed from Accelerate to get away from but he gets the triple kill on 1 HP with Time Rift. What a beautiful ability.
Kronos just saving that fight for his team. They get the gold, the fight looks very bad, and then Kronos just runs around and they miss their abilities, and he does not miss his.
Archies now picking up a Gold Fury for completely free. Now we're seeing a 4K lead. That is absolutely huge. They just what looked like a bad fight for Archies ended up doubling their gold differential. That not something to be scoffing about, to be honest.
Yeah, that's got to be fairly sore for the. Just find the monkey bounce. Fantastic.
DOI throwing the Sacred Monkey onto Edward Deco, forces out the Grand Joust, will teleport after the Grand Joust, demounts Edward Deco with Fear No Evil. Ooh, you can't be caught out like that, unfortunately. That's
very patient. Holds the monkey bounce for when he knows the dash is ended, and just gets on it.
RG's now currently doing their Greater Scorpion, giving more gold towards their team. It's 5k now. We're looking at almost 5k gold. That is wow.
You got a pick, but the lead's just getting bigger.
The lead just continues to grow bigger, and as much as Order of the Blight can continue to get kills, the gold lead is just getting too much worse for them. They're fine in terms of farming. Order of the Blight, they're doing fine. They do what they need to do, but slowly and surely, as the later this game gets, the more they're going to have to worry about Seagull.
Yeah, 3 level lead for the Kronos in the mid lane. He is He's getting real close to that Chronos Singularity late game where he can just 1v5.
Well, 1v5, but more like 9v1. Ugh. Disgusting character. Oh, and there's, speaking of, there's a Blink onto Max.
Look at that
There's a
damage.
Spirit of the Afterlife. And that is a 3-man rotation onto Max. Enowar Decker able to get the cancel with his 2 for Dio's Fear No Evil. Dio will get the Fear No Evil eventually. And now there's 4 of them here. There's the stop time. And Dio will unfortunately fall to Seagull as much as he tried to get his somersault off.
This is looking real good for Archies.
Nico's now currently doing a blue buff invader. Seagull looking to take that tower down with the poly. And there's the demount onto Eduardeca from Thomas Flop. Eduardeca goes in anyway with the Grand Chalice. Thomas Flop will use Celestial Flight to keep himself just a little bit safer, but Mino Kino providing the healing with the Monolith. They're chilling, but there's 4 in mid for Archies. You now have to surrender that very low tier 1 tower. But
that is just a
Thomas
free
Flop
tier 1.
able to do a lot more damage. And now, well, Archies are pretty much in a position to be able to reset, buy as much items as they want. They have a lot of gold sitting on their hands, I'm
Oni's
sure
is
of
coming
it.
up. Fire Giant is up. Would be interested to see which side they go for.
I think what we're going to see is that we're going to see Archies are going to ward Fire Giant, and I think they're going to go for that Oni Fury. And when they get that Oni Fury off of respawn, if they are able to, then they'll be able to use those Oni waves to their advantage, to have those waves being pushed out, get any potential towers or tower damage that they can get. And then you just look at the Fire Giant. They look straight for the Fire Giant, they burn it as quick as they can, while members of Order of the Blight have to deal with those Oni waves if they don't deal with those Oni waves. Thomas Flop currently being caught out, already used the beads, will have to use, unfortunately, Celestial Flight to escape.
A good Aegis.
Good Aegis coming out from Thomas Flop and the shell from Mino Kino, which will keep him alive as the Dormant Pillars were used. And now Seagull's in a little bit of a tricky position. There's the Blaze of Retribution, there's the Grand Joust as they're continuing to go with the bat. Mino Kino will unfortunately fall to the stop time. Seagull getting a double kill with the stop time. Oh.
This Kronos is popping off. Just pre-ults the Hunbat's ult and goes straight into their backline and starts just wrecking shop. And are they going for fire now?
They should be absolutely looking for the fire turret. There's a blink from Seagull onto Mex, and Mex will use the counter blink in response. Archies are now starting up the Fire Giant with 3 members alive, 1 with no fear, no evil, 2 without a Spear of Mortal Pain, but there is a Dueling Dragons on the horizon. Fire Giant currently on a quarter health, will drop down to a third very quickly. Mex, unfortunately being CC chained, will fall down to the Wild
steals the fire.
Order of the Blight have stolen the Fire Giant. Unfortunately, the Dueling Dragons did not secure that, but now Thomas Flop will fall. That is 2 of 3 gone with the Fire Giant, and now it will be free, as Dio unfortunately meeting trouble from Mikos, but will get the blink off in time. But however, there is a Ganesha on the prowl, but will Ganesha do enough damage? He does not have enough Dark Pillars. Unfortunately, will not hit the Turns of Fate. And now Davros is out of position, as here is an Otero coming in, but Nikos will use the shell to save him, and Otero will not be able to kill him. Davros just being a little bit cocky with the spam.
Chuckle.
A little teeter too. Wow, that was surprising. I didn't think the Order of the Blight would be able to see that. I mean, I saw the Dueling Dragons come out, and they didn't even scratch the surface with that Fire Giant. Unfortunately, Mex, as much as he was able to divert their attention onto him, yeah, DOA was able to just seal that with the Sacred Monkey, no problem. He gets it for his team, but almost at the cost of his life. And now there are 2 members with the Fire Giant, Mino Kino and DOA.
Yeah, that is good to prevent the bleeding a bit, but they still have to deal with 3 Oni waves coming down. Just very fed characters across the board, pretty much. 2-level lead in solo, 2-level lead in mid, 2-level lead in support. This is going to be a tough one to fight into on a defense.
Yeah, but I mean, they do have a jungler with the Fire Giant, though. They can. I don't think the Oni waves are going to be really much of a problem for them. I mean, that Yu Huang has already just pretty much cleared most of that Oni wave in the mid. I think with the Humbats with Fire Giant, I think they could have a very good defense siege. I think they're going to walk up that right lane. They're going to get that tier 2, no problem, as all 5 members. And yeah, they still have that Oni wave, but theoretically, Order of the Blight should be able to defend this no problem. And even then, they're giving up. They're allowing that Oni wave to be cleared. They just wanted to get the tower and leave. No problem.
I do like the play from Order of the Blight to push out the waves in left and mid just to prevent a split push on a Phoenix, because it's much harder to siege into a Phoenix 5v5, obviously. And as a result, they will choose not to. They're just going to go push the waves, maybe get a bit more farmed up, get their last couple items, and try again, maybe.
Yeah, and just looking at builds, we do actually see that Adordecker has opted for a Magi's Blessing. I completely understand why he would get that. And of course, he's still able to absolutely flex into being able to go into defense because he knows Seagull's 9-1. He can absolutely rely on Seagull to just delete anyone he wants at this moment in time. So he can just set up for the Grand Joust, use that very large AoE cripple, even set up for him with either the slow from the horse, sending the horse away, or using the knock up, using the root from the 2. He can do all he has to do really is set up for that Chronos. He can chill, set up for the Chronos, no problem. Chronos will probably walk away with either 3 or 4 kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, especially with the Chronos having Blink, the Chronos is getting in on the backline with him, so they don't have to worry that much about dive damage if the jungle wants to go tanky. But I do like going builds like this on some junglers at the moment, just because you don't need that much percent pen as long as you're not trying to kill the support and solo as the jungle. You can just get by with that Heartseeker, just trying to burst a squishy. As we do see a defense coming out for this tier 2. Maybe looking for a soft defense here. Although they do have the Hunbat ult. This could be a good fight for them.
They still have Fire Giant for a little bit amount of time, so they can defend this tier 2 if they want to, and they are not going to surrender it to them. God Fury is coming up in about 1 minute 50, but that Fire Giant is the most important thing, which is coming up in 50 seconds. So Archies, I'd say look towards them. They want to look for a pick. They get for that. They can get for a pick, especially with the Chronos Blink. They can go for a pick, get that Fire Giant, sail off to the Gold Fury if they need it. Really, I don't really think they need it, and then I'd look for a siege at that. I'd look for a Phoenix siege at that point because you've already got the Fire Giant. You've already got a member down from Order of the Blight. You can look for a siege. But however, saying that, there aren't really any waves that are pushed up in favor of Archies. Mid just been cleared and will be walking up. And we currently do see Duo is currently stalemated in the middle, but on the right-hand side, the one that you can very much likely take away very quickly after a Fire Giant siege, the right-hand side currently actually pushed up in Order of the Blight, though Archies have just cleared it. They will be going back and they will be getting items. Started being bought out by Adordecker, providing even more protections for him and power, and percentage power while being in the jungle. So, very good option for him.
Yeah, this Lance should be very hard to kill on a dive right now. As long as he doesn't go in like on his own, he should be pretty hard to kill.
Here we go with the first Fire Giant Madance. Minokino looking to deward that sentry will get a little bit of opposition met towards him, but not actually as much damage as Nikos has taken, unfortunately. But they're going to sit around, they're going to play a little bit. This is the Fire Giant dance. We all love to see it. But Nikos is getting very aggressive, taking a quarter of Dioise's health away. But they do have the healing from Terra. They can just sit around. They can just wait. They can build a problem. But can they heal up in enough time where Archies are just not looking at that Fire Giant and will be going onto it? Archies pulling the Fire Giant. It's on a quarter of health.
Pressure them in.
Nico is just dealing a lot of damage right now, but has just pulled the Sacred Monkey into his team, but not much there. There goes the Nico, Spirit of the Underworld onto Atomic Pillars. There's the Earth and Fury already out. Mex, unfortunately, will get blown up, but so will Davros, but Dio, fortunately, falling in the back. Here comes the Grand Joust! And now, members are in a bit of opposition. Dio... Otero will unfortunately fall. Thomas Watt will also fall to Seagull, and now Minokino is the only member left alive for Archies, currently sitting on very, very low health. So is Adordecker, but he's chilling. Seagull able to pick up the double kill with the Chronos Accelerate, 40% movement speed over time, and that is a deicide for Archies, and that will be a right Phoenix.
Well, actually, no, the tank is very low, but he does have TP. So they could...
Nico's is low, but they do... Well, they do have the teleport, and straight up with a ward, being able to walk right up. But he isn't even needed. Archies have already gotten the Phoenix anyway, and now all members are opting to reset, aside from Nico's,
Seemed a bit
who should just be
undecided,
chilling at full
but yeah,
health.
they do decide to take the safer call, not go into
And
that Titan
now-
ring that low.
No, I don't. With all members very close to respawning, I don't think they look for the Titan. I think they reset, go for that Fire Giant. They only have currently there's not really any members that can walk up right now. Now there's 4 available. But if the right call was to be made, they would look for that Fire Giant immediately, burn the Fire Giant. That puts them in a very much better position for them.
Absolutely.
They are now pulling the Fire Giant, but however, Order of the Blight are walking up, but they do not have enough time. Archies will burn that Fire Giant in time, and will also get the Pyromancer as well. Now all members of Archies are backing, which is a good call. They will have a fair bit of gold to spend, so... And now they should also look for other sides of the map. Go left, get that tier 2 tower, potentially look for picks and go for that siege. Take away a Gold Fury from Order of the Blight as well, which means that they're still taking quite a lot of time to finish their builds. Yu Huang still sitting on a tier 2 enchantment item. For the lifesteal, whether that be either a Soul Gem or Pythagoras, very likely a Soul Gem, being an item that got... Very recent item that got buffed, really nice item, so...
Speaking of builds, I really like this Embalmer pickup for Davros. It's such a comfy item for when you're going to be sieging before getting EFG after 30 minutes. It's really nice for just letting you be able to tank up those Phoenixes without getting chunked too much. And it's also quite a cheap and cost-effective Fizzdy item. So I do like that pickup by him.
Yeah. Emperor's Armor is something that you don't ever really see, but it is certainly a good item, especially if you want to look to siege as very much as often as possible. Like, you want to be able to debuff the Phoenix, slow its attack speed, reduce the amount of damage it can do for a little bit. You know, it buys a lot of time for you to be able to siege. And with an Osiris Ganesha, you want, and it's even Lancelot, you want to be able to buy as much siege time as you can. So being able to debuff that Phoenix, sit in its range while your ADCs are still continuing to either hit the Phoenix or just look for kills, they can just do that.
Davros just standing still, eating autos from Adira, laughing in his face. A 1v1.
But meanwhile, on the other side, on the 1v1, Dioi unfortunately getting engaged on by the Lancelot. The Grand Joust will connect. That is the Fear No Evil. But on the other side, as Dioi now chases Edward Echo will fall. There's an Earth and Fury. There is a Blaze of Retribution, but the damage is just too much. And now, that Phoenix will fall for Archies. That's 2 Phoenixes down out of 3. Will they be able to get a mid? Edward Decker is already down, and they did burn a lot for that. That was the Spirit of the Underworld, and that was also a Dharmic Pillars.
Yeah, I did like the call by Ed to just throw his life away to just pull 2 people away from that left side Phoenix to allow his team to get the Phoenix. It is the good
There
stuff.
goes a Wild Hunt from Reblossomed. Unfortunately, it does not connect as Atira will use Drop to get away, but now has to reset. Minokino trying to get a little bit of an aggression on. Nico's will fall, just about to acquire a quarter of his health, but there's not much there to be left. They can reset, but Order of the Blight cannot, as they're still missing their ADC mechs, now just falling a little bit lower, but at the same time is able to engage. Otiro able to pick up a kill, and there goes Seagull. Reblossomed able to pick up Thomas Flop, but unfortunately, Reblossomed will fall to Dioi in the back. Order of the Blight looking actually really, really good right now, despite being 2 Phoenixes down. They're able to oppress Archies and do good. But Minokino is a little bit away from his unfortunate ADC. Will fall to Nico's on the Spirit of the Underworld. And now, Nico's looking for a little damage. Unfortunate beats coming out, but the perfect jolt, able to just keep him away from that sickle. And now, here comes Eduardeka with the blink, and will take away Otiro.
A string of 1v1s, one at a time in the mid lane, until eventually Ed is the last man standing. But yeah, Archies do manage to find the 3rd Phoenix there, but at the cost of their entire team, effectively. So this, it's still a very rough spot to fight back into for Order of the Blight, but it's not unassailable by any means.
Well, the right Phoenix has just respawned for Order of the Blight. Now Mechs trying to clear that fire wave will be met with a lot of opposition from Eduardeka. There's a Grand Joust. There's a Spirit of Mortal Pain in response, but you will not demount the Lancelot, and he will walk away killing you.
Ed just roaming the map, looking to pick people pushing up too far for waves. Just preventing Order of the Blight from really doing anything off that deer side. They've managed to get their right Phoenix up, but that's about it.
Yeah, and as soon as that Fire Giant coming up in within about 40 seconds, Archies are just Archies with that pick, especially, are very much in a position to just retake the Fire Giant, walk it down right, retake that Phoenix, and if they're able to get a couple more picks, they can just end the game here.
Absolutely. The EFG is about to come up in 20 seconds, so and it'll be very tough for the Blight to step up for this with 2 fire waves pushing down the lanes.
But at the same time, they also kind of have to, because are they really in a position to give a Chronos an enhanced Fire Giant for free?
I feel like this
are.
might be a Hail Mary play. It might be a do or die. Beat them in this fight, or you lose, maybe, unless they really mess up a Titan push. So,
X has respawned, has just bought a heroic teleport, so he could teleport into this team fight if he so wishes to. They are pinging out wards for him, available for him to teleport. There he is, on arrival. Will D ward also there on that end. Archies has now picked up the Pyromancer, and now we go back to a second Fire Giant dance, but DI currently in a little bit out of position, but will back off, will go towards his teammates as pings are being called out for him as well.
2 fire waves are entering the Titan room.
2 fire waves.
Gonna have to back to defend those. Someone is.
Someone's going to have to make that call to defend that Titan. As Otiro and DI,
Just letting the AFG go.
They're willing to take Archies, destroy that enhanced Fire Giant, and now they will walk it down right Phoenix. Titan currently sitting at half health, so if Archies really wanted to make that call, they could walk down right Phoenix and just end. If they really wanted to. I mean, Edward Decker has a 3,000 pot as well.
To the Polynomical.
That Phoenix is gone. And as I said, that Titan's just about sitting on half health. If Archies wanted to, if they're carefully played, they could very well just end. Here comes the Dueling Dragons, but there is the Grand Joust. Edward Decker will pick up Thomas Flop. Dioi will be picked up by Reblossom. Seagull also picking up Mino Kino. Titan's falling lower and lower, and that will be game 1.
Very well
to
played
Archies. That was through minute 1 to the end of the game. That was a really well played game by Archies.
Yeah, Edward Ecker just creating a lot of map pressure early, and Seagull on the Chronos just putting in so much work in team fights, just killing everyone.
Well, when we say you can't underestimate a Chronos, you really can't. That man just chilling. He was getting a little bit of harm. He walks into a team fight. He walks into a disadvantaged team fight. He walks out with a triple kill on 1 health. What do you? Can you even say anything about that? That's just boggling. And as we see into the numbers here, he's pumping out 36k.
A whole 10k over his adversary in the mid lane is pretty huge damage lead.
That is just surprising. And even then against the ADC, still 6,000 to 7,000 more. That's a lot. That is.
I will be very surprised if he gets the Chronos again, game 2.
I think at that point, Order of the Blight, I do have to say that Chronos is going. We're not letting Chronos through, and maybe they might look towards Lancelot as well. Potentially, I'm not really sure about that, but I would certainly say the Chronos has to go.
Absolutely.
Just wow. I know it's Chronos just doing Chronos things, but I'm still very surprised by it. I mean, he even has the most wards, and no, he doesn't. He has 7 wards. Never mind. I take it back. I was looking at Davros's impressive 19 wards and thinking it was the Chronos.
I would love to see a day where my mid laner is buying 19 wards in a game.
Hey, just hit me up. I do that just for free. I'm a bit of a ward wins gamers type thing. Well, I think that's all that we have to say for this game, so we will quickly wrap up into a little break, as we'll see you guys in game 2.
You on that nemesis, thinking her shield is real scale. Walked on the biz, I got my scythe on me. Pray to God, I don't hit it, or you'd be the one on the gray scale. Yeah. Spitting buzz about smile, even though it is shy. Fuck me, I need a new purpose in life. Yeah, walking back to speed, fountain gang, rise up, run it down, no regrets, spawn back at the fountain. Yeah, fountain gang, Mr. Thana won't get removed from the team, but unlucky we try again. Pure skill flowing down my veins. No pussy guys on my track. Yeah, we talk about you, carry ugly ass, but give me a rest. Only thing you good at, you fucking old, but don't even get me started on you, Aries. Yeah, let's throw it back to some skill. Crucible, be my cruising bro. Spinning, flipping, pushing peace. My man knocks up woman on the daily while looking kinda hazy. What I wouldn't do to be my cruising bro. Spitting buzz about smile, even though it is shy. Fuck me, I need a new purpose in life. Yeah, I might be an old life, but you talking, walking, breathing, smile. Fuck man, you might need more help than me. You plebs are playing casual while I'm sitting in the Galarian League. I must be cooler, right? Never mind, casual's better than a bombshell. All the love to my boy princess, but babies ruined the league. Should have seen that coming when all the big egos come together, turning it into a competition on who can cry louder. What a shame, really guess we bout to move on. I'm sorry, SB, you fucking legend. All the love's spaced out.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Glarious Might League. This is Game 2 of Archies versus Order of the Blight. How are you feeling, Maccabi, after watching that just beautiful performance by Archies?
I'm feeling good. That was just excellent early map play out of the Lance and some very clutch plays by the Kronos, by Seagull.
And
there we
speaking
go.
of the Kronos, there it
First
is.
band. Get him out of here.
We expected this. We knew it was happening. The Kronos first ban coming out from Order of the Light. Just yeah. We don't want to see that Kronos again. Just take it away from them. No one should be allowed. No one in any game should be allowed Kronos. If anyone ever lets that character through, you're asking for a bad time. As Archie's opting just for normal bans, coming out with Khepri, Daji, and Neja, and Order of the Blight currently sitting on Hades and Yamoja. So pretty much all the same bans from last game, but now with an addition of Kronos. I don't see any fault with it, really.
They will all obey
And once
their
again, it's our
goddess.
first pick. Probably going straight into a CERN first pick for all of the Blight.
Yeah,
If
I was
things
just
do the
about
same
to
for us.
say. I was just about to say we probably are likely going to see a Kronos again, unless maybe we could also see a Rama, perhaps.
There it is.
No, there it is. There's the Kronos. Fair enough. Fair play.
The two playable comp ADCs and the Thor, which did get left open in place
Yep.
of the Kronos, is second pick.
We banned the Kronos, and now that means Thor is open. We're able to pick him up, no problem. Order of the Blight looking very strong already. Although, I don't really think the ADCs would be snoozing with doing the same matchup again twice in a row. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just me, man. I don't know. ADCs, man. That's just how it is.
ADC
As Archie's now picking up Merlin and Ymir. I like that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel. I mean, Merlin into Thor is okay. You can flicker an Anvil of Dawn before you get hit by it, but at the same time, Tectonic Rift into Mjolnir's Tomb, and that's still in range of flicker. So
yeah, it is a rough matchup. I do really like Merlin right now. I think he's a bit underrated as a mid laner, but I do also think he should be probably bottom 2 because he is quite an unsafe god.
Merlin does have his safe parts, and I think especially with Elemental Mastery into the Fire Stance. I don't know. As Order of the Blight, here's the third Maui played in a set. I like it. You know, I think Maui has had a really good success so far. I mean, so far we've seen him in 2 LD stats, both played by Idolazy. Absolutely amazing Maui player. But now it's Mino Kino on the Maui.
Yeah, that's scary. That's dangerous.
Second wave of bans coming out. Order of the Blight still taking away the Loki. I'm still not really sure why they're doing that. Archie's taking away Scylla, and Order of the Blight will also take away Edward Ekker's Lancelot. Absolutely fair and understandable that they take it away from him. And Archie's taking away the Morrigan. We do not want to see a double Thor comp again.
Absolutely not. That is quite a scary combo to leave open.
And so I'm looking at the comps. I mean, I think Merlin is still really fine into Thor and Maui. Wow, that just opened up a new level of problems for that Merlin. Discordia being picked for the mid lane. That's well, it's certainly a double-edged blade because you have to be careful as Discordia around that Ymir. But set up for Thor, set up for the Maui. Everything is just perfect for them.
Yeah,
that Discordia can very much poke out a Merlin or even force Flicker, so that a Thor can just recast onto him, or a lot of different scenarios, really.
Yeah, it makes me quite curious about what Mex is looking for in the solo lane. He could be looking for a really heavy-hitting early pressure solo this time, like Mulan, something like that, who's just gonna get that disco passive early and run with it to get a ton of map pressure.
What if it's a Thor solo?
It could be a Thor solo. I do actually prefer Thor solo to jungle right now. I think he really likes being able to be tanky on the dive.
As Archies now locking in Robin and Tyr. Nikos, you really want to play Tyr, huh? You know what? If we're gonna go down that route, it better be a grand performance. That's all I'm saying.
Tyr is looking pretty strong right now, but an outpush of it.
Okay, as much as I'd like to see an upwash, I don't think that should be locked in.
This is surely real. They aren't joking here. This is definitely a real pick.
I mean, if that's an upwash solo, That's great. I mean, you're just gonna get bullied by a tier, but like Archies actually is kind of a bit of a menace in the solo lane. It switches to a King Arthur, and then it switches to a Guan Yu and gets locked in. Guan Yu
Really
into
good
tier,
matchup.
very, very good matchup. Unfortunately, tier will have to wait with that fearless combo in order to be able to CC him. But in that time, he's eating up a lot of damage from Tower Assault. So, and he also has a little bit of a much better late game presence on Guan Yu than tier does, unfortunately. But you know, we never see how things could change very differently. We could see tier absolutely running it early for like the first few levels, then Guan takes it over, and then tier somehow could how Nico's is, he could just absolutely bring it back in any way possible. But you know, this is something I also haven't touched. I know Mino Kino likes to play Guan Yu support a lot. What are the chances it's actually a Guan Yu support?
I mean, it could. That is potential. I remember when Maui first came out for the first week, it was just full damage Maui solo every game. So it's definitely a possibility. I think I'd certainly prefer Maui support and Guan Yu solo, given the lack of consistency on the Guan Yu. But I could see it going the other way if it's something that Mino's very comfortable on.
Well, every time that I've seen Mino Kino's Guan Yu support, all he's ever done is pressure, run around, and pressure. So they could, as I'm probably expecting him to invade purple buff invade again as well for this game. He could very well just he can play the Guan Yu support, and he could just want to pressure and dominate for game 2 and take that game in their favor. But we'll just have to wait, really. And as we head into the game, actually, it is unfortunately a Guan Yu solo. I am disappointed that Mino Kino is not whipping it out and hitting the gritty. He could have. He's holding it. He's holding it for the game 3 if they win.
Saving that one for finals.
Davros actually currently, with the pressure of Ymir, looking for that purple buff invade onto
on this purple, so they aren't going to see it.
Order of the Blight. Yep, no ward vision either, so Order of the Blight unfortunately are not aware of this. Davros will just about get it in time, leaving the minis. That's just salt in the wound. But he is still currently trying to get away with the slow of Invader's Curse. Funnily enough, Maui can actually catch up to him, and there's the swing, and solar swing, and now, well, they have the early game pressure. Even if they have Ishtar Ymir, currently the dual lane I think holds pressure until Ymir gets level 2. Really, I mean, yeah. I don't know. The spread shot, the spread shot from Ishtar, the card pit from Ymir. I don't know. I mean, they'll have pressure for now with Solar Swing and Bramble Blast. But I feel like as soon as dual lane hits level 2, it's going to be really good. Speaking of, there is the first blood in the solo lane. Nico killing Mex, just waiting for the Tower Assault to finish so he can CC him with that fearless blink, who was indeed used. And that is a good first blood in the solo lane. Now, Mex using that teleport already. 1 minute 20 into the game. That's not a good teleport you want. Not even able to afford a tier 2 breastplate. Now on the other side, we're seeing DI coming into the dual lane. Will pick up Davros, but Mino Kino gets the kill.
Once again, another early gank onto the Scepter.
That's a support tax if I've ever seen one. But honestly, I want to see Maui get all the kills. He deserves them. And now, well, we've had 2 great options so far, but now we're seeing a back camp invade from the Robin. Thor, unfortunately, will miss those, and now that could lead into either a solo rotation or a blue buff invade, and it looks like it's going to be another solo rotation as Mex currently out of position, trying to poke with the Talos Assault onto Nikos. There goes the 10-hand Shadow Fist, there's the Fearless, and that Mex is gone again. 2 minutes into the game and 2 deaths, and what could he afford in that time? A tier 2 breastplate. That's a silver breastplate, as now his blue buff is getting invaded as well. This is not looking good on the solo
blue buff
side.
Is not happy. That is a rough start for Mex on the Guan Yu.
A Guan Yu without blue buff, he's, you know, Tower Assault costs like 65 mana. That's a lot of mana that's eating up just from one ability. Never mind that you have Warrior's Axe, which can only give you so much mana sustain every 10 seconds. So, yeah, taking that away from him, giving even more pressure for that tier, just absolutely pushing for that tier mid game, where tier can just make clear wave, make so many good rotations, and just be an absolute menace and a powerhouse. And we've seen a lot of that at like a level 11, where a tier will just rotate, taking no damage from anybody in the game and just able to zone so many people. That is an unfortunate frost breath into an ice wall. Fortunately, did not connect. But yeah, we're just gonna. I think if there's anything we're gonna see, I think it's just gonna be a massive solo lead right now, and we're gonna see early rotation for that tier.
Like a 1.5 level lead for that tier. And that is, he is going to be very tough for anyone to deal with if this keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to be able to respond to him. He's just going to be too tanky. He's going to deal too much damage. This is a good solo swing into a Bramble Blast. Does a lot of damage onto Reblossom, but with the Jolt, he will get away. And with a little bit of peel from an Ice Wall, but doesn't matter when Maui passive can just kind of pull you back a little bit towards your teammate. And now he's holding the hook swing. Davros is just letting that happen. I think Davros has gone a little bit chill mode. I don't really know. And now, in fact, he has been pulled by the hook swing. Here is the Island of Creation, and that is a kill on the Davros as the Wild Horn also connected. That's a Horn Charge cancel, and that is 2-1 to Archies. Order of the Blight.
Fantastic Maui ult placement just to pull that Ymir straight out of tower and block off his way back in. Just guarantees the kill for his Sonos.
But surprisingly, though, despite Archie having 2 kills up, they are still behind in gold. That's, well, I guess Order of the Bar are just better at farming. There's a Blades of Retribution from Reblossom through the wall, but does not catch the purple buff. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Thomas Wap, unfortunately falling to Edward Ecker again. Did use the Golden Apple of Discordia, but it will not be enough to save you. Wow. That is now 2-2, and now it's actually swung back in Archie's favor, the gold differential. This is good, but as things continue to further, Otero now being caught in this purple buff. There goes the Horn Charge. The beads will be used, but here is a Raven. There's the overhead kick, able to keep him away. There, though, however, is the fish from the Maui, and that will get a Tiro safely away and towards the Maui. And now Maui just currently throwing a little bit of CC towards Davros to delay XP from him. And things will just continue as normal as they walked away with the purple buff.
Absolutely. A nice clean invade, but the Cernos does manage to get out, not getting the kill they maybe wanted, but securing some farm away.
Now, interestingly enough, we are seeing solo laners here contest for the backs on the XP, but surprisingly, though, things have actually evened out in the solo lane. Max is now level 7. He has a full breastplate. They're kind, despite Nico's getting one kit, getting the first blood and then getting the assist kill. He's, well, as Nico's is now just hit level 8. It's the level lead isn't too much more than what it already used to be before.
Yeah, it's stayed pretty consistent. No big objectives falling quite yet. They are working towards getting
the Archies have just taken a Greater Scorpion, but so have Order of the Blight as well. Both teams are very on point with taking their Scorpions. Now, we're already 40 seconds into the cups respawning, and Order of the Blight already having majority of the cups on the map. I think if Archies want to try and secure that trebuchet for themselves, they're going to have to look at cup invades right now. And actually, interesting enough, we are seeing Edward Ecker lurk around a bit for the ADC, and Davros potentially now looking at cups. No, it seems like they're going to be opting for a red buff invade instead. As Seagull getting a little bit pressured onto him. Solo swing unfortunately does not connect, but the passive does connect. I'm not even going to bother trying to attempt Menard's passive. But now the turn is here, as here is the Mystic Rush. There's the Frost Breath. There is the Ice Shard. Maui trying to use Landfall to save his teammate, but unfortunately it's too late. Thomas Flop will fall.
Just about get out.
Seagull just about scathing away on 1 HP, and now here's Max already using the cavalry charge, will unfortunately not find much. Doi falling lower and lower, and here is the tier with the Blink Fearless coming out. Doi will just have not enough DR for that. and that will be his downfall. As
Just
Nico's now
The
getting a
slow, just
Lawbringer,
about keeping the Raven alive off the tier ult. That was a massive rotation by Nikos.
and that will keep Edward Decker alive, and now that means that he can look to pursue further onto Max, throwing a Fearless combo at him, now doing a little bit of damage, but he'll be chilling. And oh look! The cups of all the cups that Order of Light have taken have now have all respawned. And now Archies have actually caught up to them in terms of being able to get the cups. So the Trebuchet can go to either player's favor here. And actually, saying that, Archies are only just about one cup away from being able to get that Trebuchet. That's going to be good for them. Reblossomed, able to get a lot of damage onto Artero, but unfortunately, the Blades of Retribution do not connect despite getting the beads, and a shell will also save Artero, and that will be a kill.
That was a Terror better be thanking me now for that rotation. Just about managed to get there in time, pops the shell, gets the leap to prevent a spill there.
Almost love getting oracles. Minukino actually was looking there to, I think, milk the obelisk to try and get the Trebuchet forward or the Blight. This can go towards either teams. There is only one cup that is needed for both teams to be able to get that Trebuchet. So whoever gets that first cup on respawn is looking really, really good. But who will have the current pressure to be able to take that? And currently, Archies have the pressure. But Davros now being a little bit caught, gets the ice wall, prevents the golden apple of Discordia, but having to avoid all the damage. Wild Hunt already used, Davros will fall. Now Seagull in a little bit of a positioning trouble. The Anvil of Dawn unfortunately does not connect, but the landfall does. Seagull now in a lot of trouble as there goes the Maui passive pulling him back in. And Minokino will get the kill. Now looking for more.
Is Minokino on the Maui?
That man has all the kills instead of Seagull.
Involved in every kill on the map.
Interesting enough, we are seeing another ADC 1v1. Otero does horn charge onto Reblossom, but Reblossom losing the fight will opt to jolt out. And now pings are being made out from Edward Eka that Minokino is on the rise. The level 9 Maui, who is 2 levels ahead of the Ymir, but now calls are being made onto Edward Eka as he is out of position. Maui does get the Master Fisherman pull and will get the Solar Swing as well, able to pull Edward Eka, but a good ice wall will prevent the Maui passive from coming through and connecting onto Edward Eka, and that will stop any further initiations from happening onto Edward Eka, and that will just be a normal reset for the enemy team.
5 to 5, and the gold is looking pretty even. After a bit of an early lead for Archies.
Edward Eka able to get a Mystic Rush onto Otero, unfortunately falling too low. Davros is still on his spam laugh game, but he has to hold that spam laugh. The karma comes in as Edward Eka will unfortunately fall to a Tectonic Rift Mjolnir's attunement. The power of Thor.
Double tap does just hit very hard this early in the game. It looks like he might be going towards a Transcendence, just looking to have insane damage late game. He won't pick it up.
Will he be able to get those stacks as Nico's just continuing to get the backcams from him? Will he be able to get those trans stacks online before,
4 people rotating on him right now, but as Tyr, he should be okay. He does still have his ult up for the escape.
Yeah, I think Tyr's in a very comfortable position. He still has Lawbringer. He's not really taking a lot of damage right now, so he can... I feel like he can back camp invade fairly fine and fairly healthily. I don't think there's a lot they can do. I don't think there's a lot that Order of the Light can do right now. I think what they want to do is just try to play around ADC. Play around Otero and just try and make him as strong as possible to be able to negate how strong Nico's already is.
Yeah, try and kind of split the map, cut their losses in solo.
Speaking of, there's an Avalon in the sky. Reblossomed will be caught by the Tectonic Rift. Otero will pick up the kill before the Anvil of Dawn does. But in response to that, Archie's currently picking up the Pyromancer for completely free. No members of
Order of the Blight go for gold.
And to mitigate the damages further, Order of the Blight, with the kill advantage, will take that Gold Fury, knowing that they have lost the Pyromancer. Mechs having used the Cavalry Charge to just safely keep him alive, meaning that there are no return kills for Archies. And that's a Pyromancer versus Gold Fury, which just puts Order of the Light ever so slightly ahead.
This is a very close early game.
Anytime Davros spam laughs, I'm just going to keep quiet, just so we can hear it fully. Not that I have anything against Davros, of course. He's a lovely, great player. But come on. I know it's UD, but have at least a little small tangent of courtesy, okay? Come on. Who am I kidding? God, spam laugh.
Go on, start some beef. Make it interesting.
Hey, that's what UD is here for. We just start beef every day.
I've heard.
Unless it's Matt, we just start beef every day. You know, we try to. If we're not sleeping, we're beefing.
That is what I've heard from speaking to some UD players. That there's a lot more beef up here than there is in lower division.
Trust me. If I was able to summarize like the entirety of Lazen in a paragraph, I need a typewriter, to be honest. Yeah. There are some UD wormholes. GSL Iceberg? Hey, can we get GSL... When do we get GSL Iceberg updated? Yeah? You don't work?
Seagull getting a lot of damage from the disco comp. 2/3 his HP just from two abilities.
Wow. And I mean, I think that's just double flat pen, really. Where that's 25 pen coming out from that Discordia. Meanwhile, Merlin's only sitting on 10. So that is a lot of shred already coming out from the Discordia. So I very much understand that damage. That it's a lot, to be fair, but it's barely understandable when you understand behind it.
Yeah, I do like the early soul gem pickup, given that Merlin does like these proc effect items. They're quite good with his kit, but he is such a good applicator of Divine Ruin, and given that he's into a Guan Yu, it does have to open a few questions as to why he's not gone towards that Divine.
And I have to further comment on the Soul Gem passive as well, because especially as well, Merlin's passive Overload, he's able to proc Soul Gem on that passive, because it counts as extra his Poly effect does actually count as extra damage. There's a blink over the wall from Edward Decker onto a Tiro. Aegis will be used in response, and a Wild Hunt. But here comes the Apple of Dawn! Unfortunately, the beads come out from both. Edward Decker will use the Mystic Rush to just make sure that he absolutely gets the kill.
Well, it looked like a very clean gank. But they group up too much and both get hit by one Thorol.
But meanwhile, in the counter response, there's an Ice Wall, which will force him on his attunement. But here comes Nikos with a blink, will catch Dioi, and now we'll just continue the pursuit as Max trying to get a cavalry charge onto multiple members, will unfortunately be CC'd out of it. And now there's an Ice Wall.
That's a lot of fighting for no more deaths.
A lot of fighting for what has already been cleaned up and was already prevented from leaving. Seagull just getting lower, and they do see that, but they will not pursue it. Just opting for the Oracles instead, as the Merlin gets the red buff. Wow. So much happened there, but I feel like the highlight was just that ball. Be dangerous.
Yeah, that Thorol saved the fight right there, just hitting both of them. Preventing.
I mean, Nino Kino currently out of position. Here comes Reblossomed, but a perfect strike will do a lot of damage, and there's a solo swing back in.
But fall and the Merlin gets out.
That will cost him his life, and unfortunately, the Seagull will still stick around on half health. Mex now being forced to use the cavalry charge out as Thomas Flop falling very low. Edward Decker forced to use the Mystic Rush at the edge. The absolute edge of the Blades of Retribution hits Thomas Flop and will fall, and now the pursuit is on to Max.
Another big Thor.
There's the Mez, and another huge Amble of Dawn coming out from Thor, hitting Reblossom, but Seagull with the Radiate will do enough. Eclipse will do enough damage to kill him, and Edo Adeka, unfortunately now out of position, will fall toward Hero in the back.
Everyone's so low.
Everyone's so low. Everyone was just extending the fight. They didn't want to stop. They wanted to continue and continue and continue. Extended fights are just everything that we fight for. Arturo, you are not skinny enough as Kurnanos to fit through that ice wall, unfortunately.
Last game felt like quite clinical map pressure, just from Archies driving a lead early. And this game has felt much more like a scrap. This is two teams just trying to fight. They want to brawl.
This is arena. They They didn't like the map control or like the nothing that they were doing in game one. They just said, all right, let's make this as arena as we can. Let's just absolute to the wall, fighting and fighting and fighting. Let's just go right now. We brawl.
Absolutely, just dragging them down into the dirt.
And you know what? I respect it. You know what? It gives us more action. It gives us more content. A lot more things to say. We haven't even commented on the build. 4 has just completed his Transcendence, which is going to be really, really nice for
power spike.
That's going to be a huge power spike, and that means those Anvil of Dawns, the great Anvil of Dawns, are only going to continue to do more and more and more damage. And as we are speaking, here comes in the ADC. There is an Anvil of Dawn charging up. Unfortunately, just out of range for Ruby Blossom. But there's the Blades of Retribution in response. Will connect the stun. Now using the Storm Shot, Dioid taking a lot of damage. There's the Aegis. There's the beads. Will use Neon as a tool to get out. But here is Nikos with a blink in the back, doing a lot of damage. Will use the Berserker's Barrage to prevent the immunity fear in the knockup, and just about gets a Mjolnir's attunement to get away. Will stun Davros to prevent any further engagements, and now Davros is falling a little bit low, but Nikos is tanking. But there's the landfall from Maui. Will force Seagull's beads, and there is a golden apple of Discordia onto Nikos. Nikos will use Fearless onto Minokino. Minokino will fall as members are continuing to get lower and lower on the end of Archies. Mex now coming out with the cavalry charge. Unfortunately, Ice Wall just a little bit too out of range to fall, and now here comes the Strife and an erratic bit. Unruly magic from Discordia. That will be Minokino. But at the same time, Nikos and Edward Echo will fall in the back. Davros just a little bit too low. But now Seagull actually seeming a little bit healthier than he was at the beginning of the fight. And now Order of the Blight, interestingly, are looking to start a Gold Fury.
I like this call from them. They know that Davros has to back, given how low he was. So it's only really the Merlin head contest. He doesn't 3 on his own. So that is a good heads-up call to just know that they have the control of this side of the map for now.
They will get that goal through here for you. Seagull decides to not try to risk his life by attempting to steal it, and I think that's very fair. And now the mid-trebuchet, interestingly enough, has been pushed out. Mid-trebuchet is not a trebuchet that I really value. I think it's, if anything, it's one of the more weaker trebuchets. So, fair enough, you're wasting it probably here, but, I mean, best case scenario, they'll get quite a bit of tower damage. They may even get that tier 1 tower if they don't respond to it. But it's not going to really alleviate to anything like the left and right trebuchets can, which can just allow them to divert enemy members away to then start a pick and then get a fire giant, or even just start up a fire giant completely. Maui able to get a Master Fishman onto Davros through the wall, but it's just not going to alleviate to anything.
Yeah, the Archies do manage to pick up their own Scorpion. It doesn't get stolen away. And, yeah, the lead is still minuscule for this late in the game. 2k for Order of the Blight. It is...
Trebuchet now falling down in mid, and Edward Decker potentially in a little bit out of position as the calls are now being made onto him. Here's a Maui with the Master Fisherman. But Edward Decker chooses to go onto him. The Master Fisherman will unfortunately be missed. There's just nothing. There is just nothing, and all we can do is just wait for a fire giant dance, really. And I think, I don't know, but ADC Reblossomed is level 17. Otiro is level 20. He's now just been blinked on by Edward Decker, who will use the Mystic Rush, has to overhead kick onto the Wild Hunt, but Otiro with no beads will unfortunately just fall to Edward Decker.
He may be level 20, but there are just too many people there for him to deal with.
Reblossom now
to keep the relics,
up.
quite interestingly. He doesn't use his relics, perhaps just realizing that he wouldn't have a chance to get out even if he did use relics, thanks to that email holding his ice wall. But you have to think, maybe he could have had a chance.
Reblossom now catching up in farm, does hit level 18, but interestingly enough, does choose to rotate for these Fire Giant pushes. And now there's recognition as there's a Blizzard immediately into a tier Fearless combo. Thomas Lop getting lower and lower and lower by the minute. Unfortunately, the Golden Apple of Discordia does not connect. Shell was used, but does not save him. There is an Anvil of Dawn, and Seagull will fall to Dioi, as now continuing to push onto Dioi is Nikos, but there is a landfall from Maui. There is a Lawbringer from the tier, and now the cavalry charges on, as Maui has to use Solar Swing to get out, and now Mex is not looking in a good position. But there is the Yulao, mystical Yulao, and that will get Mex away, as Archie is now starting up a Fire Giant. but none of the members of Order of the Blight have backed yet, and they are looking for opposition, as there is a good Miona's attunement double tap onto Reblossom. But the Aegis is bad, as he gets caught by the damage from the fire pit. And that will be a kill towards DI, as Edward Echo just falling lower and lower. But he recognizes that DI is there! Mystic Rush into the... dodging the first part of Miona's attunement, and will just about kill him 1 health. Now, things are interesting. Things are looking at Nikos as there's a Wild Hunt. Mex will be pushed by the Fearless, but now Horn Charge coming out. Otero is just looking for aggression. And now here comes a Cavalry Charge, but Davros, the Ice Wall is just too good, and will prevent that Cavalry Charge from pursuing. Nikos is still sticking around though, however. Never mind, as he actually has just decided to back. Tyron Tower will fall in right, but that's just wow. That's all happening, and now actually the pursuit is continuing to go, as now there's a Blizzard onto a Frostbolt. Mex falling just about below half health, but here comes a Solar Swing. There's the passive, pulling Davros back in, but now Edward Echo blinking on the Thomas flop, but will not engage further. Here's a Fire Giant dance, but now Order of the Blight now looking at the Pyromancer. Will pull in with the Master Fisherman onto Nikos. Nikos now taking a little bit more damage than I think he'd like, but will deward the Sentry Fire Giant. And now in response, there's already a Sentry Ward back for Order of the Blight. That's dewarding Nikos' Sentry Ward. As a Davros was a speed buff, as I've just witnessed. That's a Ymir. That is going to be walking.
He is walking at high speeds, and you do love to move speed on Ymir. He is a character that really utilizes it quite well, given how immobile he is, and how much advantage he gives him with all the slows.
Archies are present, very much present of where the Maui currently is, and now Nico's currently having the opposition being just walking up. They're totally looking up, and there's the Blink Fearless, but unfortunately it does not connect. There's the Solar Swing, and now there's the Phantom Shell. There also comes the Mystic Rush coming out from Malcolm with the Blazing Retribution from Reblossom, but Mex able to get a 4-man.
A huge Maui. 3 people caught by the Maui.
That is a 4-man landfall for the Maui. Absolutely huge. And now we're not even talking as Otero getting a double kill onto Davros. Edward Decker able to get 3. That's Otero, a triple kill. Wow, so much just happened. That's Dioi gone, that's Thomas Flop gone, that's Mino Kino gone, but at the same time, that's Nikos, Seagull, Davros, and Reblossomed all gone. And Edward Decker currently being looked at on the ward map. Wow.
These are some fights. There's a lot to process going on in these fights.
I wanted to comment on it so quickly. That was a beautiful 4-man landfall from Mino Kino, and that even locked off Archies from being able to escape, as they'd have to run around their team to get there. But as speaking of Fire Giant being pulled by Order of the Blight, Mex will come to that in response with a cavalry charge to make sure that he gets the cancel, and that will be Edward Echo falling, and that will get a Fire Giant for Order of the Blight. 2 members of Order of the Blight have this Fire Giant, Otero and Mino Kino. The Archies are going to have to look to take that Fire Giant away from Otero, but even more so for Mino Kino. If he gets those 4-man Maui ults like that, we're in for a tough time, especially you're pulling in 4 members, and you're blocking them off, forcing them to have to lead the other way unless you cancel it. Yeah, that's just not something you want to look at right now.
Absolutely. That was a massive fight. Just people just pulling out hero plays on all sides, which is just resulting in lots of these fights ending with lots of people dead.
There's just so many different things happening, and I like it. We're seeing the scraps. We're seeing so many scraps that are resulting in so many different outcomes in many different ways. And I think it's really interesting because, we saw an absolutely prevalent Kronos within the game 1. And now we're seeing a very prevalent Maui and Thor in the game 2. And it's just... The big game changers are what really are setting things in stone for how these team fights are played out. But all of it is all just constant brawling. Order of the Blight currently pulling this Gold Fury. Will get it. Edward Decker now out of position with an overhead kick already being used. And it looks like Order of the Blight want to look to collapse on him. But Nikos could potentially say no here. Here's a Solar Swing coming out from the Maori. Unfortunately, it does not connect. Master Fisherman will be used. But unfortunately, does get the overhead kick. Mystic Rush will be used by Edward Decker to get out, but at the same
Another
time, there's a
turn.
Blaze of Retribution. This is a turn, and that's a Phantom Shell for the Ice Wall. But meanwhile, Ontiro will fall to Edward Decker. Unfortunately, in the back, an Anvil of Dawn has been missed by the Thor, but Dioi will still pick up Reblossomed, forced to use Beads and Aegis, but Edward Decker will pick up the kill. That's a double kill for Dioi, as Mex in the back, able to pick up Seagull, but Thomas Pop gets the kill, and now Thomas Pop is in a little bit of disposition, uses the Aegis for the Ice of Shards, and now all things are being looked at him. As now there's a two-man fearless.
And another
there is another good landfall from Mino Kino, able to pick up Edward Decker, and that will prevent from members from getting away. Nico's now just falling ever so much more lower as Mex gets the cavalry charge already back in the fight, and now Davros is the only member remaining. But Mex will fall to the enhanced tower from the Emperor's armor as Davros just continuing to dance around, and there's a Mino Kino on 1 health, just able to scale away as the fire shot, and there's a blink from Davros attempting to kill Thomas Pop, but he will get away on 1 HP, and Mino Kino, well, there's not much to get for Mino Kino, but he will get that tower. The Emperor's armor, unfortunately, unable to save that tower. Wow,
this is an absolute bomb burner. I'll say it. This is one for the books. Just non-stop fights that are just resulting in 1 or 2 on each side.
So many very interesting and such strong plays coming out from both sides. It's so pack filled with action that I really love seeing what I'm honestly seeing, because I can't even keep up. As much as I'm trying my best to, there's only so much I can say within such a short period of time, and at points I end up fumbling words probably, but we're here for it. This is a really good set so far, and I'm really liking everything that's coming out. And even
the freeze missed off the jump.
Dio,
the chase out
unfortunately,
of Ravana.
members of Archies sitting in the cup wanting a bait. Davros just unfortunately missing the Frostbite onto Dioi, but Dioi falling very low from the Mystic Rush will get him out, but he will get out.
I think with how much fighting is going on, you really have to look at the... As we see another fight starting, I'll hold my thought.
Here we go. A Fearless combo coming out on the Maui, but he will just use Solar Swing to get out. As there's a Golden Apple from Discordia coming out. Will unfortunately connect. And here's an Amber of Dawn as it lands onto the tanks, unfortunately, but now will be pursued. As Nikos gets Fearless into... As Nikos will get a Fearless into the Blaze of Retribution, and that will be Dioi as he gets crit to death. But here's a Blake from Edward Ecker, will try to pursue, but there is unfortunately a Beats. And now Nikos, unfortunately, just going too deep with the Lawbringer, will be killed by Mino Kino. And now the aggression just continuing for Order of the Blight. As there's another two-man landfall as Davros just falling lower and lower and lower as Mex continuing to pursue chase. Seagull will fall as there goes the Solar Swing, and that is a team wipe against Archies.
Turnaround.
And that just goes towards Order of the Blight, who
I think if last game you can't let them have Kronos again, I think you can't let them have Maui again. Mino is putting in so much work in these team fights with these ults.
Interestingly, with no minions, Order of the Blight are looking to pursue this Phoenix. They do have Guan heals for sustain as well. This Kronos is currently tanking the Phoenix, so that's fair game.
And that will be a mid-Phoenix.
They're still dead for 17 seconds. They could very well look to end here, but they have to burn it very quickly. Using the Kronos passive, Titan is getting to a third of health. There goes the Golden Apple of Discord. There's the cavalry charge. Done. And it is a game 2 to Order of the Blight. Oh.
What a game. We're evened up. We're getting a game 3 of this.
You know, I'm just so surprised. You know, I don't think I saw one bad landfall from Mino Kino.
Even the early ones that weren't catching 3-4 people. Like that first kill on the Ymir was a fantastic landfall when he trapped him out of tower. And then just in the team fights, just catching everyone. That was a great play.
I think that along with Dorsey's Maui, which has also been proven to be a really good Maui that has caught a lot of people, I think that this game right here, I think this set right here just shows how much that Maui can be valued in competitive. I think that Maui is a really, really strong competitive god, and I think that set alone can just show that Maui is just... You can't underestimate Maui. He even did a lot more damage than the Ymir did. And as much as poor Davros tried his best, it's just Maui was just too much more stronger and much more oppressive with his CC. And even with a little bit of peel with this, like if he had the solo swing for a teammate, he would do that gladly, but mostly just continuing to aggress, giving Mystical Ulau to be able to peel for his teammates. It's just so all well played out very well. And that was amazing.
A Maui masterclass.
I don't even know how much mastery Miyukino has on Maui, but that purely is the MVP, just flat out right there.
Absolutely, that was insane.
It's just taking a lot of things across the board. Interestingly enough, surprisingly, Ortiro really, really was able to pop off that game, and I think that it was a really good play for them. As much as they lost the early pressure, the solo lane pressure, I think it was what I said. They have to look through. If they're going to try to mitigate anything, they just look to play through duo, look to play through a Tiro, and just make a Tiro as strong as they can. And I think it paid. I think it really, really paid off for them in this game, as Reeve Blossom didn't even have a chance to be able to do much in these team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Just recognizing that Solo's getting behind, and instead of trying to just throw more and more into defending that Solo side of the map, just saying, no, we're going to take everything we have and just jam duo lane and get a lead there. And they did it, and it worked fantastically for them.
All right. Well, I think that's all I have to say, and I believe that's all you will have to say. So we'll be heading back into a break as we come back into the game decider, game 3. Okay, I see how it is. You want to be biased with listening to the music by yourself, but we can't listen to it. Okay. You know, I think we should have enjoyed that Dion Timmer song. I love Dion Timmer. What a great artist, honestly. Probably one of my favorite dubstep artists. And anyway, hello everyone, welcome back. This is my EDM ramble that I'll have for the day. Welcome back to Game 3, as Order of the Blight have already, once again, taken away the Chronos.
They haven't forgotten Game 1. They are making sure that they can't pick.
I don't think we're ever going to see. I don't even think in the finals we're going to see Chronos game through. I don't think Chronos is ever going to get allowed again after Seagull's performance.
It would be surprising.
Now, interestingly, Archies have not opted to take away the Maui first ban as well, but have still taken away Hades, as Order of the Blight now probably going to their normal rotation of bans with Khepri and very likely Najah. As Archies now taking away the Thor, they understood that they traded the Chronos so then they could second pick the Thor, and they first picked Ishtar, and that Thor was a very big presence, so I very much understand, and you know, Thor is always still a good ban, so take away the Thor, no problem. Order of the Blight takes away Daji, perfectly normal ban, and Archies not taking the Maui away and instead still opting to get
about time
taking banning Najah and Order of the Blight. They know what they want. They want Mino Kino Maui just getting snap locked for Mino Kino.
They will all obey their goddess.
And now, in response to that, Archies will be able to pick up both Ishtar and Kernanos.
A very strong top two.
That is a double hunter mid and ADC composition. That is going to be a little bit rough for them, but I feel like they can. I feel like Order of the Blight can be in a position where they'd be able to handle that.
Absolutely, very strong top two. Lets you take not only the best ADC pick, but also take away the other best ADC pick and keep it themselves. And they're going to go straight into the Heimdall.
Heimdall is Heimdall's a strong pick. I don't have anything against Heimdall, but
no god nor demon can defeat me.
You don't know which one. You don't know. You see those two. You don't know which one's going mid. Although I think it should be Ishtar mid, Kernanos ADC. You look at that comp and you don't know which one's going to be going ADC. And you know, of course, you have the two best pressure ADCs in lane, Ishtar and Kernanos. You know, I think picking Heim, you know, with the uncertainty of not knowing which one you'll go into, I actually kind of like it, especially when it will come to late game, because, you know, you can get through the realms, take someone out the fight, no problem. And on top of that, you'll be swinging because of Heim's late game damage. So, yeah, actually, the more I think about it, the more I actually kind of do like it, because as much as you probably won't have pressure early game, then the mid to the late game is what'll make up for it. And as Archies have now come out with the Ganesha, of course, and Order of the Blight very much taking back the Raven for Edward Decker as the Phase 2 bands coming out, Scylla and Vulcan, Cthulhu and Cabrakan.
I'm surprised by the Cabrakan ban. The other three, I think, are pretty standard, all very high priority picks in their roles. But Cabrakan we've seen a bit less since Manticore Spikes got increased by like 200 gold in price.
What's your foolish ambitions
surprising
to
pick.
rest?
Maybe they want to pick something that's weak into it.
Well, and yeah, I mean, now they've just opened up for a lot of opportunity of windows. As now Lancelot, who very heavily countered by Cabrakan and the walls with the mount up, now will be able to just roam for completely free. There is still a Heimdall. There is still a Raven. Raven is very, very strong into Lancelot, just being able to demount and continuing to be up in his face. So I don't
Our deed
hate it too much, but I just think that taking away something that's very strong against Lancelot and then allowing them to have Lancelot is a little bit of a struggle, but we don't know how these things will go, as Order of the Blight could take Discordia back for Thomas Flop, and also could just continue in pretty much almost having an identical comp as Game 2 with the Guan Yu picked. That's, well, if it ain't broke, if it worked Game 1, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
you traded losing the two best ADCs in the game, but you got pretty much the same comp that you had Game 2.
Yeah, and in this comp, I'd say Heimdall is the disco passive abuser. He gets a lot of value out of that power, so if they can get that passive onto him early, then he can get swinging in lane. But a Hercules pick, this is quite a rare pick at the moment. You don't see it too often. What do you think of that?
Well, when it comes to versus Guan Yu, Hercules is actually kind of a pretty okay pick. I mean, he's able to use Driving Strike to be able to prevent Tower Assault from that being picked up. But yeah, Hercules, so he's a bit of a double-edged sword, because Hercules falls a little bit short because of, unfortunately, what has happened with the DR changes in 9.5 and all that stuff. But Hercules just pretty much almost always will, with his entire kit, just produce full DR stacks, which means that he's just not able to provide out the crowd control that he wants. But at the same time, with the most recent passive buff and all that stuff, Hercules has a lot of damage on the table. So if that Hercules will opt for the build that I think he would, he is going to be a hard hitter, he's going to be a runner. So hopefully we're going to see those things as in fact we go into the game, and he does have Warrior's Axe and a tier 1 Golden Blade. Now I think Hercules is really interesting in that way, because you can go for either Golden Blade, which will allow you to just optimize early clearing and farming, and that means you don't have to press Excavate every wave to be able to clear the wave. But at the same time, you can also look for, Transcendence Hercules, which means, yeah, you're not clearing waves as efficiently, but you hit super, super hard as Hercules, and of course, you can just Excavate every wave, move on, and do something else. But
Yeah,
we are going to see it go currently in Mex's favor, as he does have the clear advantage, does have the Tower Assault, but that Earthshaker will just give it. The Earthbreaker will give him a little bit of damage.
Yeah,
but it's not going to.
This katana stuff, Herc, is not something I've seen before, so I'm interested to see how it goes.
Well, you'd be very surprised, because actually, Golden Blade Hercules is actually currently a very popular build that's been running around. Before Transcendence Hercules came into the play, it was actually kind of very commonly used, and even right now is currently going in SPL. So I'm not too surprised by it, and I'll expect it'll do well. As we're going to talk about dual lane, as Mino Kino using the solo swing aggressively here. Davros just falling to about a third of his HP, but now we'll go back to a quarter. Just falling a little bit lower again, as interestingly, it's a Kernanos mid and an Ishtar ADC. I was expecting the complete opposite.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Sun can put out a lot more pressure than Ishtar if you're looking for mid pressure, while the Ishtar can be a bit safer in that duo lane. It's not the worst. I'd say I'm pretty even on which one I prefer mid. I think both are evenly good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Both are perfectly fine wherever you put them. I was just, I usually expect, with Ishtar with Blades of Retribution, Blades of Retribution absolutely damning as a mage to be hit by, because if you do, you just get blown up. And on top of that, Ishtar can also very much match mid-wave clears with Bread Shot. So, I think it's just, I don't know. I think I think I'm a little bit more lean towards preferring Ishtar mid, but I don't hate it. I think it's fine. Either are fine, but I think I just prefer Ishtar in mid. Yeah. And seeing Kernanos in ADC, which would be really good for dual lane pressure, just matching the Kernanos' pressure. That's a huge Mystic Ulau coming out from Mino Kino, bringing Otiro towards him, and that will be a lot of damage onto Davros. That will be a massive lot of damage onto Davros. There is a shell coming out from both teams. It's Davros just falling 1 HP, but so is Reblossom just getting lower. But unfortunately, using the Bifrost crystals will not kill. That is unfortunate.
just about make it out. That was.
But now we're seeing on the rotation, they're not very aware of it. Here's Edward Ecker on the Lancelot again, but Otiro does have the beads and does have the Bifrost still available, so he will be getting out alive. But unfortunately, Mino Kino not in the same position. Mino not in the same position. No mana, no health, will unfortunately die, and that is first blood.
Behind was Otero.
Archies. But here is Otero coming out with Davros. There was the Wild Hunt, and now there comes the Mystic Rush out from Dioi. Seagull falling just a little bit low. But there's the Unruly Magic and Strife, and that is a lot of damage. And now
the all off the mark though, but
Thomas Flop has hit level 5. Will use the Golden Apple of Discord. Unfortunately, it does not connect, but Edward Ecker will still fall to Dioi, and that is a 3-2 trade 4 minutes into the game towards Order of the Blight. Wow.
Yeah, that is. I think we're in for. I think one once again, because that's a lot of fighting this early in the game.
Well, we asked for an arena game twice, and that's what we're gonna get. And you know what? I'm all here for it. I'm all here for it. But you know, until we see scraps, really, there's not really much we can say. We're gonna go back to farming. Hercules and Nikos has already gotten his Golden Blade online, because Golden Blade, very cheap item. You buy the tier 1. Wow, it's only 1,500 gold. What an amazing item. So he gets to buy full Golden Blade. He gets his teleport. He's clearing waves like a champ now, and he can save that driving strike for against the Towel of Assault. Which now that means it should go in the solo lane should go in the Hercules' favor now.
Absolutely, yeah. The Golden Blade gonna. A nice crit item for clearing. Just give you that free pressure if you don't think you can pressure without it.
And not to mention, you're also getting 7% movement speed, which for a character like Hercules,
who wants to walk up behind you. It's
you want to be schmoovin'.
A lot of value.
Now, interestingly enough, 5 minutes into the game, both Scorpions are being done by both teams, but Archies will get their Scorpion first. But I mean. No Scorpion invades. Both teams just get their Scorpions. Nothing wrong. Obelisks and Cups are about to spawn in about 30 seconds. So it will be very interesting to see which team will prioritize them first and look to get the most that they can achieve for that first trebuchet to save for the late game. As currently there are a lot of members around for Archies currently set around the Gold Fury and Duo lane. A Seagull getting a little bit aggressive onto Thomas Flop. Unfortunately, does not connect the Strife. Will hit the Unruly Magic. And now, here's a blink from Dioi. There's a Mystic Rush. Beats coming out from Seagull, but there's the Golden Apple of Discord. And that will be a kill for Thomas Flop. As now, here's the Maui. Unfortunately, does not connect the Solar Swing, but will connect the Master Fisherman. And there is now
a huge Maui once again, but not.
There to Thomas Flop now being collapsed on, but there is a landfall. Does not prevent the unfortunate that is Edward Ecker already just mounting up and trying to burn as much damage as he can. We'll pick up the kill. But here's Nikos in the back, able to get a driving strike onto an unfortunate Dioi that thought he was safe to lazy back. Wow. Evened out, 4-4, but there's still a 1k lead for Archies.
Just once again, so much happening in these fights, even this early. Mino almost finds another amazing ult to save Thomas Flop, but he was just too low already and does end up falling down still. And then, yeah, the big rotation out of Nikos to just even up the kills.
Interestingly, we just saw a purple buff invade coming from Otiro. Will use the Bifrost just to escape and get away from Davrot. So that's a Bifrost going to be down for quite a bit. Now it has now just become available to him, but they're just playing this Heimdall very, very well, being able to, using the Bifrost perfectly to be able to, keep him out of sticky situations, able to keep safe. Thomas Swap doing a little bit of damage on the Seagull, but here's Davros just starting a little bit of damage with a remove obstacle, with the Turn of Fate, but does not do enough. Just doesn't really do anything to have a presence. Tom Flop will just go back to clearing waves. And now, I'm looking at the items. I think, that Seagull, despite dying twice, has a pretty big advantage right now. He's only 10 stacks away from completing that Devourer's Gauntlet. Meanwhile, Thomas Flop still has quite a way to go. But now they're looking at the blue buff invade as here comes the Mystic Rush out from Mino Kino.
Unfortunately, the just about bounces.
And the Wild Hunt will be used on Minokino. The Golden Apple of Discordia does bounce and will hit Edwardeka. Edwardeka gets hit by the Swirler Swing, but unfortunately the landfall will just miss. And that is a Grand Joust coming out from Edwardeka. Will keep him alive. And that is a Seagull dashing away from a Minokino low on health. Whoa. that was a really unfortunate landfall that don't know can I. But meanwhile, Edwardeka being caught out in the back by Mex, but he is unaware. He is unaware of why Guan Yu is the perfect counter matchup to Lancelot, and he will try to mount up, and will be instantly demounted by Talo Assault, and that will be Edwardeka falling as he's just being an absolute menace on this Guan Yu already. He's level 10, and he's making moves like this. Nico's trying to match things, but unfortunately the Warriors will just prevent him from, getting that driving strike. Wow. And now
Solo's doing very good rotations to kind of get an extra pick at the end of a team fight, and gold just
Order
goes
the
down
Blight.
for free to Order the Blight.
Order of the Blight will pick up a free gold Fury and the Oracles, now setting the gold difference just mere hundreds in the favor of Order of the Blight. Ooh. This is it's back and forthing really, really nicely.
Only 11 gold, and it dips straight back to 154 for Archies. This is such a close game.
It is certain. I think this one is probably going to be a lot more closer than even what Game 2 was. Trebuchet now did get pushed down in mid. That did go towards Archie, so that probably helped alleviate the gold loss a little bit. As now, actually, Archie is currently maybe looking at the Scorpion from Order of the Blight, and they will get that Scorpion, so that means that's less gold for Order of the Blight, and that's more towards Archie's. So now Archie's still only just a little bit behind there. Now currently looking...
They are pulling the Pyro after poking down.
They are pulling the Pyromancer, but they will not commit to it, just probably looking for a damage check. As 3 members of Order of the Blight do show up, and everything will just now reset to normal. Gold difference is still just waning ever so slightly in Order of the Blight's favor, despite the greater Scorpion loss. And, I think if there's anything to look for right now, I think there's going to be a pick, and then we look for a Pyromancer. Tioi is now also spam laughing. I think that's in response to Davros. And you know what? Fair game. That's fair game, honestly. If Davros is going to do it, you can do it back. That's fair game. I have really no problems with that.
Around.
I would say it was you could spread it around like a virus, but then that'd probably be controversial considering people still care about COVID. Probably. We'll leave that up. Probably. I'm not going to make any further comments, as there's a Through the Realms coming out from Otiro. Unfortunately, gets Reblossomed Beast and will get the Blazing Retribution. But Otiro, still with the Piercing Sight, able to pick up and gets the kill. And unfortunately, that's an Edwardeka wasting the Grand Joust. Meanwhile, over here, though, there's unfortunately a landfall which blocked a Golden Apple of Discord, and there's a Dominant Pillars. Two members being pulled by Nikos, but that's put them in a very bad position, as now those members of Order of the Blight are closer towards lower health members of Archies, as Seagull will now just be picked up by Mex casually. I liked that 2-man pull, but it was a nice 2-man pull, but it's just your team is way too low that you can't bring enemy members towards your teammates and to allow them to die like that.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. You always love to see a good bit of mechanics like that, but it can sometimes backfire when you have a mid laner who's on about 25% HP where you're pulling them to.
Order of the Blight do try to start this Pyromancer, but will have to drop it as Davros and Nikos do show face, though. Still, that Pyromancer is just still being left.
Both teams just trying to catch the other team lacking. They're just pulling it and seeing, if they don't come, we can get this. Otherwise, we just have to drop it.
And on the mid rotation, here comes Edwardeka throwing the horse out onto Thomas Hawk. Will do a little bit of damage, but nothing to look for, as here comes the solo lane of pressure. Nikos with the Golden Blade just running at Max with the diving strike. And now lurking is Edwardeka. The blue buff has already gone down. And now there's a blink coming out from Edward Decker onto the soul lane. There's the cavalry charge coming out. And there's a Grand Joust trying to catch him in the back, but will just be used to escape. But now here comes the counter rotation from the Robin. There's the Mystic Rush. There's the 10-hand Shadow Fist. There's the Prowler Onslaught. Lancelot has already lost his mount up. So that will just be a free kill for Dioi.
Yeah, maybe a little overconfident diving onto a Guan with ult. And he does get punished for it by the counter rotation.
And probably just lacking a little bit more damage than last time as well. Where Edward Decker was a 3-0 lead early, and he was able to pull off the same build. We're seeing an Edward Decker that was 3-2. So not as much of a lead in net value as he did before. Order of the Blight are just able to pick up the Pyromancer this time. Davros does, interestingly enough, use the remove obstacle to get through the landfall, but a good cancel from
Does just cancel that in time to let the apple
will allow the Golden Apple of Discord to go through. Not anything game-changing, but definitely a nice touch.
Nice little flare of mechanics. Just a bit of showing off.
We do a little bit of flexing in UD. We do that as well. We beef and we flex. Thinking about it, if UD just sounds like a gym session now.
GSL gym win.
Printers, are you falling asleep? Are you okay? Edward Decker coming out with a Grand Joust, tries to catch Commerce Flop, and Dioi will make a Mystic Rush in response to that. Unfortunately, neither do connect. Members of Archies are falling a bit low as Artiro is continuing the pressure, but now Nico's coming out in the back. Commerce Flop already half on health, and that's through the realms onto. I believe that's Edward Decker. Edward Decker will fall. That's the Dharmic Pillars, but in response to Artiro will fall. And now Thomas Flop just got falling a little bit lower. Seagull, however, in the back will fall to Max. And now Thomas Flop is being kept alive with the peel from the passive of Mino Keto. But unfortunately, driving strike is just too much. And Thomas Flop will still fall. However, Max is able to continue the pursuit. There's a shell coming out. But Dioi, falling ever so low, will be smacked by the Hercules. And that's a triple kill for Nikos as he pulls Mino Keto, cancels the solar swing, but it will not be enough. Mino Keto denies the quadra kill as Max is on the chase for Reblossomed. Will pick him up. And now that's going to be a driving strike coming out from the Hercules. That's a beast coming out from Max. And unfortunately, the Earthbreaker does not connect. Nico's falling a little bit lower, uses the excavate on the wave, and for the CC immunity, fair enough. And now Nikos will walk away alive. And he will probably buy some items. Yeah, he just bought a full regrowth. He doesn't even care about his magical defense.
Regrowth is such a strong item on Herc right now.
Blink! Blink with Grand Joust coming out from Edward Decker will get the cavalry charge coming out from Max, but that will not be enough damage to Decker as he's now being body blocked by Mino Kino, and now he's overcommitted. There comes the beads from Edward Decker, and unfortunately, the beads still just persisting will keep him away from the landfall and the mount up to keep him away. Nikos has already returned, so Max will just be able to get the driving strike put onto him, and he will fall. A big overextend from Edward Decker, but that ended up leading into a bait that was in favor for Archies.
Absolutely.
Now Archie's currently pulling the Primal Fury. Nico's getting a little bit low, but here...
And Order of the Blight steal it.
Order of the Blight have stolen the Gold Fury. Thomas Flop with the Golden Apple of Discord will get that for his team. Now there's a Nico's going through the realms. He will fall as there's a Mystical Lulau for Thomas Flop to get him out of the Dharmic Pillars, but he's just going to wait for the Dharmic Pillars to expire. And now potentially they could look for more, but Seagull will just be left alone to do his red buff. As Mino Kino prowling the map, seeing what is down on the map. But speaking of Seagull, now being caught out with a strike.
If Unruly Magic comes up, he could be dead.
Thomas Flop does not have the Unruly Magic, but here's the Maui on the back.
Him with the hook.
The Master Fisherman will pick up the kill.
Hatches himself a Sonanos.
Well, he went fishing. And when he caught a Celtic
goat man.
Yeah, mango thing. Otiro, meanwhile,
almost the
with
solo kill into two.
almost getting a solo kill with Gallahorn, but unfortunately will be met with the Aegis. Meanwhile, Edward Ecker able to pick out a DOI out of position, and that will be a blue buff pickup for Nikos. Everywhere we go, there's a brawl.
Very good for the Blight. This time,
Order of the Blight,
they are
just sitting on top.
There's so much map pressure. Already 5k up. It's not a huge lead, but with how these towers are looking, they have a lot of an easier path to get more gold than the enemy team, the Archies.
I mean, they took they took the comp that they had game 2. They slapped a Heimdall onto it, and then they're just like, we can play this with so much more pressure, and we can farm so much better. And I think, you know, that's what we're seeing. Aside from that, you know, Nikos is just golden blading the wave and walking away. They have so much more everywhere else than the solo lane. But even then, in the team fights, Mex is just able to produce so much more with Tower Assault, with the cavalry charge. There's a golden apple Discord coming out from Thomas Swap. Unfortunately, it does not connect. But Edward Ecker in the back will be picked up by the cavalry charge. And it's just that thing that I'm saying, like, even if Mex isn't able to clear waves as well as Nikos, he still has that team fight present because he's just, you know...
Nikos will solo out Thomas Swap.
I'll take my words back on that because there goes the excavate onto a solo for Thomas Swap, and now Davros, currently in the air, will be picked up by Order of the Blight. That Heimdall is just doing so much damage work for them.
The disco passive just has so much value synergized with power. You can just chunk. And they are just going to get this fire jam with no contest. And 19 minutes.
Reblossomed is currently just pushing down the ADC lane. Will not be able to get to it in time. And Nico's definitely not able to contest this. The excavate only just about coming up very soon. So they will, and I'm sure he does not want to run into 4 of them, especially in ADC, with crit while having no spectral at the moment. So I think they're in a very much position that they will just have to surrender that.
They'll now straight back to Pyro and just very easily solos it. The Deathbringer just letting him melt that thing.
So yeah, as I was coming back to it, it's like, as much as Mex isn't going to be able to clear waves as well as Nikos, what Mex can do versus Edward Ecker is just immaculate, because it's the Guan Yu Lancelot matchup, is that Guan Yu can just run at Lancelot for free. You have a cavalry, if you ever want to, you have a cavalry charge instant stun to get him demounted. But even then, you can just run at him. You have Warrior's Will. You can just slow. You as much as he's immune to slows, you can catch up to him. Then you can press Tower Assault while he's trying to mount or while he's already mounted. Get him demounted. Then wow, Lancelot's mount up is gone, and that's pretty much a core part of Lancelot's kit down, which means he either has to use Grand Joust to get out if he hasn't already used it yet, or he will just die.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just. It's a good counter pick, as you've been saying. Yeah, he can just chase him down off that Grand Joust. No easy escape for him.
Now, Order of the Blight will just sweep the towers, as there goes the mid tier 2, and Oni Fury is spawning very, very soon, within 20 seconds. So I'd imagine they want to be able to secure that. It's unfortunately not going to be timed very well for anything because, well, they've already just taken the Fire Giant. That's not going to be up for another 3 minutes. But it could lead to them very well taking pressure across all the lanes, and it could very well lead to a Phoenix Siege, and that would be the key point for Order of the Blight to bring things in. Being able to have those Oni waves match and separating members of Archies so then they can just pull for a Phoenix Siege or even get picks would be absolutely massive for them.
Absolutely. Just being able to split the map, get a numbers advantage on a Phoenix push, and just push in and get it.
And speaking of, without those Oni waves, they're already pushing the left lane, so they know what Phoenix they want to look for. Of course, the one being the furthest away from the Fire Giant, meaning that, you know, Archies are going to have to, unfortunately, take a lot of time to be able to respond to those fires. As the aggression is currently coming out, Miko has already had to use a driving strike just to avoid damage, and now here's Reblossom with the Storm Shot, trying to throw out as much damage as possible, but will unfortunately not connect a lot of damage, as Mex is just going to keep killing his team, keep his team healthy, Because now he's walking in, tanking the Phoenix a little bit. Nikos has already used the Earthbreaker, so he will be pulled a little bit, but he does get away towards his team. And they're just going to continue resetting. They're going to continue using the Guan heals to heal up until these waves show up. Nikos using Excavate just to clear that normal wave, but now Order of the Blight are taking that opportunity to go in. As there, Dioi going in the back with a Mystic Rush will pick up Seagull. There's a two-man landfall, and that will grab Nikos. Beats from the other, and now Nikos in through the realms. He's on 1 health, but the shield of regrowth will get him out of that. Dioi looks to blink over the wall to look for him, but Nikos is already gone. He's said goodbye. Left Phoenix has fallen. The Oni wave is now coming and pushing up in mid, but Order of the Blight are already looking for that mid Phoenix. As Seagull is still down for 20 seconds, they still have 4 members with Fire Giant. Archies are just not in a position for this. And now, as the pursuit continues, potentially Nico's getting falling a little bit low. Heimdall just pumping out a lot of damage with that crit. Nikos, however, does have the Deathbringer, so he is negating it a little bit. But at the same time, Heimdall passive having that higher basic attack damage means that his crits, even though the crits are reduced by 20% with his passive, he will just be slamming. And Edward Echo already forced to use the send away the horse. There's a lot of damage is coming out. Mino Kino taking half his health, but so is Nikos, as there comes the cavalry charge. There's the golden apple of Discord. Unfortunately, will not connect to any members. And now, Dioi having to dole out, but will be caught out. There's the Grand Joust coming out from Edward Echo, will pick up, but Seagull will fall. That's 2. That's 3. Otero picks up Edward Echo, and that is not going to be a dead Reblossom, but that could potentially be a dead Nikos, as there is a Master Fisherman coming out, but will not get him. And Nico's looking for more. Does get the Earthbreaker, but does not get anything. And now that's potentially a Titan Siege.
Another
here
two-man
comes another 2-man landfall, and that is a Through the Realms onto Nico's. Reblossom is gone, deleted by crit, and that is going to be them focusing the Titan. As here comes the cavalry charge. Unfortunately, it does not connect, but Nico's using the driving strike will take his life. Arteria is now also spam laughing, and that is game for Order of the Blight as they take this set 2-1 and we'll wait for the finals.
What a set. And Archies has to go down to now face off Dave's once again in the losers bracket semi-final.
What an incredibly well played set by both teams. I think
those were some very entertaining games. That was a lot.
That was for just watching and being able to say things, that was very, very well nicely. I mean, we saw arena games for both Game 2 and Game 3, and then we saw a little bit of a slow pace, but then we saw a Kronos come online in Game 1, and that just spelled doom. But then we see it taken away in Game 2 and 3, and then we see the Maui come out, and that everything just flips by a switch, and it becomes arena, but it becomes arena in an entertaining and really strong way.
Absolutely. Just so many extremely close fights. The Order of the Blight were just about coming on top of. And
we didn't even see a Fire Giant dance this game. Like just seeing by the wards alone, we didn't even really see a Fire Giant dance. That didn't even happen. We saw instant skirmishers into instant skirmishers that just led to a Fire Giant just being taken straight up.
Yeah, there was one pretty much uncontested fire. I don't remember another one happening.
We're looking at the numbers across the board. Just look at how much that Heimdall has been pumping out. Absolutely doubling the amount of damage that Reblossomed, unfortunately, was not able to do. 35k versus 12k.
It's such a powerful combination, having the Discordia and Heimdall just facilitating that Heimdall to just do insane damage.
Yeah, I mean, Discordia passive can almost make up for what damage Heimdall loses in his crits. Like, he's losing 20% to... Actually, it might even be more than 20%, because I don't even read Heimdall anymore. But just negating the passive that he has with reducing his crits being reduced, but having higher auto damage, but being able to bring that back slightly, just using Discordia's passive with the power that scales with level, being able to bring that crit damage all the way back up to like a normal ADC damage. It's just, even when you have a Spectral, that's just, there's not really much you can do about that. You're still being, you think Spectral would do something for you, but when Heimdall with the disco passive is walking at you and critting you for 355, you're not in a position
Yeah,
to be able to tank.
especially towards the game there, we just saw like Nikos walking at him, trying to create space, and he's just getting melted. Heimdall's just shredding through all those protections and just critting him.
Yeah, that was just, well, very, very, very interesting set to watch. Very well played by both teams. Definitely, that Maui has to be kept away from Mino Kino. If you ever want to stand a chance, absolutely get rid of that Maui. And, well, that's all we have to say for this set. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Potentially, if there's another UD cast, if we get to the semifinals of the loser bracket, or we'll see you another time for another LD final set.
Shit, I can't believe. Woke up on the hill with a diamond teeth. I don't wanna go yet. Wrist turn to gold, yeah. I see you stay